Sanford will begin us with the first question to
Sure.
consider and share.
So what have all of us been doing in these special times to be positive and look forward? That is, what are things that we've been doing or thinking about or seeing out in the world that help us to stay positive during these times? I know, for example, in my own case, um, I've been just absolutely delighted and looking forward to Zoom calls. I've been talking with family that I hadn't spoken with for years, friends from back in high school that I hadn't been together with in years, and not only different people, but having conversations that have been deeper than I know than we had in high school. At any rate, I really love doing that, and I love all the things that go on during those. So that's something that I've been doing to stay positive and look forward during these days. How have some other people been consciously or unconsciously saying, "Oh, this is what I'm doing to be positive in all of this"? Vince, what have you been doing that helps you to stay positive during all of this?
Well, I've been dealing with this Alzheimer's dementia disease for, like I said, 17 years. So what I did, I said the best way for me to get through my ordeal with it was to learn as much as I could about the disease. So I have belonged to like 6 different support groups. I been to most of the classes. I've been to this class quite a while now. I belong to Wake Forest's classes that they have. Anytime a class comes up or something, even though I might have heard about it or experienced something about it, you never know everything about it. And this disease is still so unknown and so unpredictable, and every case is different. And I keep telling that to people in my support groups. We discussed the support group is a great place to be, and I recommend it to anyone who's even just getting involved in this, because of the things you can learn and just getting things off your chest that you have to get off your chest. To me, it was an emotional roller coaster when I first got into this disease. I didn't really know nothing about it. And it's a day-by-day learning experience. And you learn as you go. And you're going to make mistakes, but you don't try to make them too many times. And then once you understand the disease, that who we're dealing with and the reality of this disease, you will be able to get through it. You have to completely understand what we're dealing with. It's like dealing with an alien that we never dealt with before. Just the way COVID came along and showed us things that we never knew, you know.
Yeah.
So that is getting me through it and keeping me positive, because all the things I've learned and how to deal with different situations, even with my wife, when she was home, I took care of her for 13 years at home by myself until it got really difficult and I just couldn't do it anymore. And you have to come to the realization you're not going to be able to do it till the end. Most people, some people might be able to, but like I said, every case is different. But in my case, it was either my health or taking care of my wife. And eventually, you will pay the price, you know. And I realized that I'm a heart patient also, so I can be susceptible to, you know, things that I don't want to be susceptible to. So I learned a lesson. I'm funny. I mean, if something happens to me, I learned the first time. It doesn't take me too long to learn. I don't keep making the same mistakes twice.
Yeah.
So that helped me to get through this a lot. And, you know, I recommend a lot of things that I did to other people. But like I said, everyone's different. And what we can do is try to help each other. And maybe what works for me might work for you. Even with things that worked for me one day, didn't work for me the second day. And that's how unpredictable this disease is. You have to understand, like I said, what we're dealing with, and the whatever our loved ones are doing or not doing. It's not really that they want to do that or not want to do it. It's the disease we're dealing with. It's not our loved ones. Our loved ones are changing completely, and we have to go along with it. That's all we could do to survive. That's, you know, in a nutshell, that's what I'm trying to convey to everyone.
It sounds as though, Vince, that you've just taken this on fully.
Challenge.
And
I've always loved a challenge in my life. I was faced with many challenges in my life. Even in the military, I came to pretty close times where I should have been killed a few times. But I learned that we're all here for a reason, and I do believe in destiny. And my life is planned, and I'm just going to live it out. And whatever comes my way, I'm going to deal with it. And that's the way we're going to survive. We are survivors. Caregivers are survivors, because we wouldn't be doing this if we weren't. And I always tell other caregivers, the reason we're a caregiver, because we were chosen to be a caregiver. They could have chose somebody else, but they chose us because they know that we can do it. Like she said, just like Penelope said, you have to have a positive attitude to get through this. If you keep beating yourself up, I've seen a lot of caregivers beat themselves up. Why am I doing this? Why is this? Why is that? Don't do that to yourself. Try not to beat yourself up. Accept it and accept help. Help is, you need help.
it sounds as though you've not only been able to help yourself and your wife, but also by sharing what you've learned with other people to truly be
Right.
of assistance to other people.
That's why I go to all these meetings and classes, because I want to help people. When you learn about it, you want to share it with somebody.
Yes.
Because what's the sense in having the information if you can't share it? So that's my story.
What have some other people been doing to stay positive during these times, to have a kind of a looking forward point of view?
Say that again?
I was just repeating the question, asking other people the same question. For example, Ronnie, what are some things, Ronnie, that you've been doing in these days? Oh, Ronnie, we need to hear you, so you'll need to click on your
There we go.
Thank
Okay.
you.
There we are.
Oh, I always look forward to these meetings. It's like going out of the house when you're not. So, I have called on a lot more caregivers to give me a break.
Mhm.
So, once we've been out and been released from the complete isolation, I've called on more caregivers.
Yes. Sometimes, isn't that a big lesson to be able to ask for help?
You better believe it.
That so many of us, it's a lesson that we haven't quite learned, but now we
right.
get to learn it. Yeah.
You
Some
see,
other,
Priscilla is coming on board. Welcome, Priscilla.
Thank
Folks
you.
have just shared what their name and then who they're caring for, or what your relationship is with caring.
Okay. Priscilla Williams. I'm caring for Miss Betty Frost, and she's a family friend.
Mhm. What a friend you are. And Sanford asked the question about what are ways that you stay positive in this caring?
Ooh, there are several ways that we can stay positive, or I stay positive. One way is keeping the faith and not forget about yourself as far as exercise and doing activities that you enjoy doing.
Mm.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Courtney, can you enlighten us some about things that you've been doing or thinking about or seeing that help to stay positive, to help to have a positive looking forward attitude in these days?
I look at it, my positiveness is I get to work from home. So my day is filled with our routine of working, taking care of my dad, going back to work, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Taking a break for myself and my husband. No, we really haven't done that, but we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start, because I do have a caregiver coming in tomorrow for 3 hours to get everybody acquainted with everybody. So once we get that on a more regular basis, I'm sure we'll start taking off, you know, leaving the house and doing something while that person's here.
Right.
But yeah, good attitude. You just got to keep a good attitude about it and know that there's a reason for all this. So.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela, what might you tell the rest of us?
One of the best ways is to take care of yourself. So one of the things that I've been doing is trying in the mornings to at least get out and walk. And so like today, because I'm helping with my grandson with school, so I've not been able for the last couple of days to maybe walk on the walking trail as I would have. Well, I have a back porch, and I just put on some music and just put on my tennis shoes and my iPad and just went out and walked circles on the back porch. And I walked for one, you know, I got 1 mile in. So just walking. I mean, you know, trying to do things physically that would help me to continue to be able to work. I'm working from home. So to continue to be able to work, to be able to take care of family, to be able to take care of the families that we take care of at Trellis, taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Walking. And then also being a little bit easy on myself. You know, if I don't do some of the things that I felt like I should have done during the day, you know what? It's okay. It really is okay. There's always tomorrow. Should I see tomorrow, I can pick it up and just go with it from there.
Who else in this room today can relate to that notion of being easier on ourselves that Angela just reminded us of?
Yeah.
Hey, can't we just hear the wisdom in this room from every person? It's just wisdom. And Angela, I'm going to remember doing a mile on the back porch.
Yes.
The creativity that suggests, and one's ability to move out of a mindset into something new. I think a lot of us are doing, but your words of a mile on the back porch sort of summarizes to me that ability of human beings, us.
Well, and I was also inspired. I can't take credit for that. I was inspired by a lady, and I believe it was New York. I'm not sure where she was, but she was in her apartment and she couldn't get out and do anything. And so she's in a tiny apartment. And she said she just walked back and forth in her apartment every day. And that's how she lost weight. Now, she was doing it for weight loss. That's how she lost weight. So she would just walk back and forth. And I was like, well, if she can walk back and forth in her apartment, I have a patio. I can go and walk out on the patio. And that's what I did.
Yeah. Isn't it wonderful how ideas spread, and a tool like this, like Zoom, just spreads it like that.
Right.
In front of our very eyes. Who else can we hear from that is doing things? Let's see, Shannon, have we heard from you?
This is probably my favorite thing to talk about, and people know that if it's not the first words coming out of my mouth, it's probably going to be the second words. And I think, Vince, you actually hit on this, is a lot of it is your mindset is a choice that you make. And so I will find myself talking to myself, sometimes out loud, which can concern those around me. But like I will say to myself, all right, what are you going to do to change this negativity that's going on? And switch things around. And Angela, you were talking about you got an idea from somebody else, and I think that's what we're doing here today is sharing ideas. And this person said, just do one thing. Don't look at everything that you're supposed to do. Just do one thing. And so like I'll say, okay, I'm just going to do one thing to change my environment, to change my perspective. Just get up and move for 1 minute. And I'm a terrible eater. So I'm like, okay, I want to eat this terrible food, but I'm going to add one thing to it that's going to make it healthy for me. And if I just put it in small increments of one, like I can stand up and move for 1 minute.
Right.
And y'all, my dad is 80 and he can't go to the gym anymore. And so you were talking about walking, the lady that was walking in her apartment, he is doing push-ups. And through this COVID, he is doing over 100 push-ups a day. He is shaming me on me telling myself to stand up and move for 1 minute. So we are encouraging each other to move. So I'll leave it at that, but this is my favorite topic, and I'm glad y'all are here talking about this today.
When you, Shannon, said, this is something that I tell myself, it reminds me that Penelope has a question actually for everybody along those lines.
What are some, a saying, a thought, a prayer or a belief that we have that makes us feel positive and hopeful? And you can share what that is, that maybe others of us can adapt it and use it for ourselves. But is there a particular phrase that you use, or a thought, or a simple prayer? You know, the serenity prayer
The
is one.
serenity prayer.
Yeah. What else comes to mind?
One day at a time.
Yeah.
My godmother gave me this thought, God's got it. So whatever it is, you can say God's got it, or God's got this, or God has me. So either way you want to put it, God has it.
Right.
Yeah.
Along those lines, one of my favorites is, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world.
One of mine is, okay, I'm gonna look for the positive in this. There's an opportunity here, and find it.
Yeah.
Allison, we haven't heard yet your lovely voice for a little while. And what might be something that you've been doing to stay positive?
I was looking up, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was looking up an email that I sent my coworkers. I forgot to mention, like Angela, I work for hospice. I work for Mountain Valley Hospice. And March 22nd, and COVID was just ramping up, and we didn't know anything about it. And it's scary. And it reminded me of a type of Celtic prayer called the Lorica prayer. And Lorica is from the Latin that means breastplate. So for those of us from the Christian faith tradition, we think of Paul's lesson in Ephesians about putting on the full armor of God. And apparently, the Celts were, there was a lot of battling and warring going on, and they really latched on to this idea of being at battle for God. But they have, it's called the Lorica Prayer of Protection. And I want to share it with you. And it's very simple. And I say this to myself. I pray this prayer with my own self, like we all do. Let me live to complete the dream I have for you, O God. Let me live until my season of worship is complete. Let me live long enough to bear a saving word to those outside of your grace. Amen.
Mm.
So the idea is that, you know, God, protect me until my mission is finished, which resonates with what Vince said about, you know, we're all here for a reason. There's a purpose for us,
Yes.
and we are chosen. And it may not feel very chosen when you're having to clean a bedpan or vomit or, you know, whatever. I call that the dust of life, the things that, but they remind us, like Henri Nouwen, he was, you know, he spent the latter part of his life caring for a man named Adam that was profoundly paralyzed and nonverbal. And it, you know, his writings about that experience, about the lessons that it teaches us in humility and that unconditional love. We can let that tear us down, or we can let it rebuild us from the inside out.
Yes.
Two things come to mind. You're in the wonderful Celtic prayer, the words "let me," which means we're taking charge. You know, we're tapping into higher, and then we are choosing to participate. And Henri Nouwen comes to mind with the phrase, "We don't think our way into a new way of being. We live our way into a new way." And what I'm hearing from each of you is through your living, the strengths and the growth that are happening. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, the thought that came to mind was a phrase with "let me," also, which is the St. Francis prayer. You know, let me be an instrument of your peace. Where there's hatred, let me sow love, and so on.
Yeah. Other thoughts or phrases, or one I tell myself when I get really stuck is just get over it, Penelope. Move on. But
Well, sometimes I cuss, not gonna lie.
So what is something that we are looking forward to? What is, it might be an event, it might be a thing, it might be a process. And why ask a question like, what are we looking forward to? Because we sometimes don't notice that we have the ability to look forward.
yeah.
Somebody once said it's sort of like your elbow. You have an elbow, but you may not have noticed it. And so we have the ability to look forward, and we may be doing it, but we may not have known that we were doing it. So once we know about our elbow, we can use it intentionally and consciously, and we can look forward intentionally and consciously.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things that we are looking forward to? And some of them have been alluded to just earlier today. I think Ronnie said that she looks forward to these calls. Did she not? Yeah. What are things that we find ourselves looking forward to? Vince.
Well,
I look
yes.
forward to getting back to, like I said, I belong to a few support groups and I missed all the people there. There's nothing like face-to-face communication of actually being with the person, the facial expressions, your, you know, your demeanor, everything about you. Same thing when I'm a face-to-face kind of guy, and I still call relatives out of state and they ask me how my wife is doing. I keep them up on everything that's going on. And when I hear their voice, it's like they're sitting in the room with me because of their expressions that they always use or the way they laugh. So, I mean, this is great. The Zoom is a great thing, but I think we all miss being together socially with people, you know, as much as we used to be. So I'm looking forward to that eventually when this thing settles down.
Mhm.
We'll be able to get back together and enjoy people on a one-to-one basis, face to face, you know.
Courtney, what are you looking forward to?
Nothing really in the short term. Look forward to this virus being over and being able to travel again one day.
Mm. Yeah. Right.
But you know, I feel a long ways off yet.
Mhm. Who else has something they're looking forward to? I can see hands, if you please. Let's not wait for Angela. I think I see your hand. I didn't, but I pretended like I did.
Yeah, no, you really didn't. I think for short term, I'm looking forward to getting back to church and just being able to see people again, not necessarily on Zoom, but the people who really, really matter to me, being able to see them face to face. No, I may not be able to hug them. I may not be able to do high fives with them. You know, I may only be able to do a thumbs up, but just the fact that I can see you face to face, I can see your eyes. You know, we can be in each other's presence 6 feet away, but we can be each other's presence. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss Angela's energy. She has just a spirit, doesn't she? Those of you that have been in our classes together, I miss that a lot. I miss that energy from everybody.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I'm working on it, and that is I was in a looking forward session a couple of weeks ago, and a woman told the story about how every morning when she woke up, she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. And she found out after a while, excuse me, she was actually looking forward to this experience. Initially, she dreaded it. But she found that as she went through the day, everything that happened to her, she tried to put a positive spin on it. So then she could say, oh, I can write that down tomorrow morning. And pretty soon she was putting a positive spin on everything. So I thought, wow, that sounds pretty cool. I'm going to try that. Well, I'm not quite to the point where I wake up in the morning and say, oh, I can't wait to write it down. But I am looking at every situation, trying to say, okay, where's the good in this? Where's the opportunity? How can I massage what's going on here so that I can see it in a positive spin?
Yeah.
I will say that having this has helped in one aspect of slowing down to really see. A lot of times we're doing a lot of busy things. We're doing a lot of busy work, but is it really important or is it just busy? So it's given me time to kind of settle down, to rethink some of the things that I was doing, to find out what's really most important. It's given me time to breathe. So I do appreciate, in looking at the positive side, I do appreciate the time to bring it down some.
Yeah.
And to stop and to think. And I know a lot of people say, I look forward to getting back to life as usual. I don't. I don't want to go back to life as usual. This is a new norm. Now, I'm not saying I want to stay locked up forever. No, that's not what. But I guess in a sense, I look forward to the new normal, to something different. And I don't want to go back to the busy. My mind is busy, my body is busy, everything is busy, and you don't have time to enjoy life, or to enjoy one another, or to enjoy the things that you do. I don't look forward, I don't want to go back to that.
Would you share what you imagine that newness being like?
I think it would be somewhat of a hybrid. Of course, Zoom is going to be in our lives forever now, but having that time, still having some of that time to relax, at the same time be very productive, to do things a whole nother way, to totally continue to think outside of the box. There's so many people that are thinking outside of the box, that are coming up with inventive ways of doing things. That's what I look forward to, the continued inventive ways of doing things, not necessarily going back to the norm that it's just this way all the time.
For me, I enjoy writing notes rather than texting a whole lot. I think that's going to be one of the new norms. Sitting down, writing a note to, for instance, someone may have had a death in the family. We can't reach out to them physically, but we can embrace them by writing a few words of encouragement, just by, and without even texting. That's my new norm. And another thing I enjoy doing is just sitting on your porch or whatever and just enjoying nature. Mm-hmm. It could be a rabbit in the yard, birds flying, even after a shower or rain, it could be that magical rainbow. So that's what I, think that our new norm will be like, is writing more, reaching out to people more, and doing things, as she said, not just doing things because, but doing things for a reason, and making yourself feel good, and you feel others feel good, as well as exalting and honoring the Almighty.
So we've been together only 45 minutes, and all of the things that we've been talking about and doing here together, think for a moment, what do we take away from our conversation today? What do we take away? Something that we heard, something that we saw, some kind of an interaction, somebody's idea, our own idea that we heard ourselves say for the first time? What are we taking away from this? How many people, please pay attention and notice where your hand is. How many people in the room have something that you can say, yes, I. So just virtually everybody, right? So let's just go around and hear those things. Who are we going to start with? Priscilla, why not?
Okay. I've taken away that we are more alike than we are unalike.
Amen.
That we all have the same feelings, the same aspirations, as I have the same aspirations as you do. That we want this thing not only to be over, but we also want to be cognizant. Okay, have I learned something from this
Yes.
shut in? Have I learned how to be more compassionate and what have you? Have I learned to reach out to someone who is less fortunate? This is what I've taken away, and that we are not ever, I know this sounds negative, we're not going to be doing business as usual. There are some things that we are going to have to adjust to, like the Zoom, like she said, we're going to have to adjust to that. But we also can be creative, inventive in ways of doing things, positive ways of doing things.
Wonderful. Thank you. So everybody's hand was up. So who's the next person?
I think drawing from Priscilla, taking the time to sit down and to do the handwritten note. Yes, texting is fine, and I'm, you know, somewhere in the middle of that generation with the texting thing. But it is so much more personable, and I think such a warmth comes over you when you get that personalized handwritten note, because you know someone took the time to stop and to write the note, to mail it. I mean, there was time and intention that was put into that. So just, you know, kind of taking that time to stop and write that note for whatever reason, even if it's just, I'm thinking about you. Yes, so I can do a telephone call too. I can do that. But just to say, I'm thinking about you, and I hope that you have a great day.
Yeah.
Yes, to more of that.
Courtney, what is something that you've taken away from today?
I'm going to take Angela's. I want us to start trying to walk mornings.
Yeah, thank you. And Shannon?
Mine is that y'all are the type of people I want to spend my time with.
Oh.
I tell my children that they should surround themselves with people that have positive energy. For example, when they go back to school right now and everybody is fussing about everything, I have suggested to them that perhaps instead of them joining into all that fussing and negativity, to share their light or to be a leader, to help kind of inspire what we're talking about that today, and just take it further with other people, because
that's good. Yeah, share with the kids.
What you just said about the people in this room today. A few weeks ago, at the end of a phone call like this, Penelope said, you know, what I'm taking away is I realized I could be friendly with every one of those people in the room. And she just summed up the sense of it. Vince?
I just enjoyed being with everyone with such a positive attitude. It makes me feel better too. And even if I wasn't positive at that time, I think you people have lifted me up even more than what I was. So I enjoy that.
And Ronnie? What are you taking away from today, Ronnie, from our conversation?
Just the fact of being with everyone is so helpful, and new ideas. That's great.
Yeah. Allison, what are you taking away from this?
Interrupt for just a second. Ronna, you were so sweet, and we just got like a little fly on the wall view into your world, and I am sending you a virtual hug. And I'm not a hugger, but I can do it virtually.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
I second that.
Thank you.
As we watched you get up and tend your mother, 97 years old.
Yes.
Wow.
And selfless acts, yes.
I'm just thankful she's in as good a shape as she is. And that's another thing I get from this group. There's always someone that is suffering more than I am, you know? So it really makes a difference. I don't know whether you can hear or not, but just in the last couple of months, my mother is Polish, and she started back speaking in Polish again.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
she's rattling some Polish right now.
Oh.
And Allison, you think a lot about things. So what are your thoughts about today? About what you're taking?
Yeah, what am I taking away? I took a bunch of notes because
Wouldn't we know that?
you all said that there were so many kernels, nuggets of solid gold
Yeah.
that came from your hearts today. And I've just got to, pull this out in my quiet time and reflect on you, reflect on your resilience, and this servant's heart that is just manifest in every single one of these Hollywood squares on my phone. I have to scroll it to get to see all of you. And just, I'm in awe of my friends out here, and I honor you, and just have a heart to, for us all to together and continue to support one another as we do, and be friends, be united, and help take care of each other. You know that you got to take good care of yourselves so that we can take care of these loved ones that are sitting back there in the recliner rattling off Polish or whatever they're doing,
Yeah.
Wow.
So the last thing we're going to talk about today is random acts of kindness. What is it that we can do to spread the joy or allow our very best selves come forth? What are simple things that we might be doing? One simple thing that could be called a random act of kindness. For example, one of the things that I have been doing and enjoy doing is when I'm in a place where other people are, like when I'm at Walmart or some other place, is simply smiling at the person who's in front of me.
Right.
And so it's a simple act of kindness. It might be thanking the post person, bringing the mail. Can we think of a simple act of kindness that we can perform? How many people can think of some simple act of kindness that we can perform? Can everybody think of one? We don't, yeah. And here's another question. Can we look forward to doing it? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
How many people can have one in mind and at the same, and also look forward to doing it and get the sense, what does it feel like to look forward to something? Any comments that somebody might make about either the act or what it feels like to do that?
There's one question I have. How is the person going to know I'm smiling at them with a mask on?
Your eyes. Your eyes. Your eyes.
You have to crinkle your eyes.
Well, you have to crinkle them more.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
you have to make them crinkle.
Right.
Okay.
It's a wonderful question, and it might be a head nod, hello, an acknowledgement, but I think it's a wonderful question. And as people are saying it also speaks to the nonverbal communication that we all really have and can. What are some other things that we might be doing? It's a wonderful, thank you, Ronnie.
I will say in this day and time, with everything that's going on regarding race, regarding police, regarding the whole thing, the thing that I try to make sure that I do is whether the person's black, white, brown, orange, whoever they are, again, to acknowledge them. To, like you said, with the mask, it's hard, but when you squint your eyes, they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And to say, have a great day, have a wonderful day. To, if I'm going in a store and someone is coming in behind me, open the door, hold that door open for them. I mean, I think just little acts, just little things, no matter who it is, helps to break down some of the walls and
Yeah.
break down some of the tension
Yes.
that is in our world and in our environment. So that's what I do, and I try to make sure that I do that every time I go out of the house.
Yes. Yeah.
I have experimented with something out at the grocery store or out 2 times that both times the people did a double take. And I just said to a total stranger, "I'm so glad to see you." And so they do a double take like, "Well, who is that person behind that
I
mask?"
know, yes.
And then I move on. And so it was a quick acknowledgement. The other thing that comes to mind that we might all take away is a book I read years ago called Try Giving Yourself Away. And in that book, there were just so many examples, simple things that you all have already described of giving yourself away, whether it's a compliment or, you know, 2 people trying to park in the same parking spot and you let them go ahead or whatever
Right.
that is. Yeah.
So as we're about to close, I really want to thank Allison for the invitation to be here. Her recognition of the usefulness of a gathering like this was immediate and deep. And anything that you might have to say about in closing out here today, Allison? We're just, again, so appreciative of the opportunity to be together with such wonderful people that you've arranged.
Yes. Well, Sanford and Penelope, I feel like this is very different than anything we've done, really. We've spent a little bit of time talking, but we spend a whole lot of time with someone sharing, you know, information and educational information. And I think that this has just been a real treat today. And I'm so glad that you and Penelope were available on short notice to be able to join us. And I think everybody would want to give you a round of applause for lifting our spirits. I just knew that this would be a good program for us, and the opportunity to probe a little deeper into our hearts and do that in community together. That this group is very receptive to this, and you can just tell everyone has really enjoyed this today. So we thank you for, you know, a new thing. And maybe we can look forward to doing it, you know, in the not too distant future with you again.
We are delighted to do it literally anytime. There's
Yes.
about 8 of us who commonly do this and so we can be flexible about most any time. And also we invite any other people to do this, because all we did today was ask 3 or 4 questions, really. And then we listened to the wisdom. We asked, how are you staying positive? I'll send you the questions, Allison. How are you staying positive? And what are something you're looking forward to? And what did you take away from today? And then we listen to the wisdom. So we invite anyone else, and if anybody else is interested in doing something like this, we'll be on the phone, we'll spend time, and we'll tell you what we do, and then you do it. But we're glad to come back.
Thank
Thank
you.
everyone for being here.
And I'm definitely so uplifted by the servant hearts in each of you that are caring for others in your services.
Well, unless anyone else has an announcement or something to share, we will conclude our Caregiver Academy online for August and look forward to gathering again in September. It's the, 3rd Wednesday every month at 1 o'clock. And y'all just take with you today. I like what Sanford said about the wisdom. Hear the wisdom. Know that you are a wise one and you are a chosen one, and together we will all get each other through this. God bless you. Bye-bye.
I-
I don't want to leave. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
too.
Thank you. Bye, Shannon.